Discussion that a lot of people are having now is the future with Sam Darnold and what's going to happen between him, the Minnesota Vikings. Is he going to bring him back? What year? How many years is he going to get? How much money is he going to get? What's going on with JJ McCarthy? It definitely is a surprising story, no doubt, to see Sam Darnold play at a high level. Certainly the best he's ever had, and no doubt it's not surprising he's on the best team he's ever had. It really just comes down to the discussion of not going to get into in a second of, are we give up on quarterbacks too early? But that's going to be a different discussion. Let's be focused on Sam Darnold and what I think his future is going to be with the team or elsewhere. So yeah, no doubt you look at the stats from Pro Football Focus, outstanding, overall grade, again, that's objective if you want to believe it or not. They rank him as the 6th best quarterback in the NFL. The one thing you can't dispute is the rankings for the stats. He has 32 touchdowns, which is 5th in the NFL, or 3,700 passing yards, close to 3,800, which is 6th in the NFL. He has 11 interceptions, a little bit up there with some of the others in the NFL with Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes, and so forth. Look back up the top two, the passing grade, 7th in the NFL, rushing grade, 16th. We go to a little bit of the advanced stats here. The average time to throw, top 5 in the NFL with 3.09, 44 in pressure to sack rate, 3rd in big time throws at 31, 67th in turnover worthy plays. But again, no doubt has played absolutely phenomenal and a huge surprise. There was no shot that we thought the Minnesota Vikings were going to be good when McCarthy went out with that injury in the week 2 of the preseason. Had a good week 1 preseason performance. After that, unfortunately, went down with a season-ending injury, and there was no hope with Sam Darnold. And people were in discussion of how high the draft pick was going to be in 2025, but he has proven everyone wrong. He's been surrounded with phenomenal talent, and that's why he's succeeded so well. You look at Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hockenson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, especially to the head coach and the staff as well. By far the best he's ever had, compared to, of course, we see in Carolina, and we also see in the New York Jets as well how dysfunctional they are as too, even though those regimes aren't the same as when he was there. But the organizations, unfortunately, are still the same of the train wreck they are. So now it goes into what happens now with Sam Darnold. Do the Vikings bring him back, and how much does he demand? Now, it's on Spock Track. This is what they're projecting of what Sam Darnold is going to get. They project him to get $35.4 million, or a full contract, if you want to look at that, a 4-year, $141.7 million deal. The average right here is 33.9, so on par, a little bit higher than what he's making right now. There are some notable guys you see on the bottom of the screen too that were making around that money. Obviously the biggest shock is Daniel Jones. How he got that money still, we'll never know. But it seems pretty fair, no doubt, to see the money that he, the way he's playing. It's not too crazy. I think anything, if it was 40 or more, I think that would definitely be a little bit out of reach, or to me that'd be a little bit crazy to pay Sam Darnold that kind of money. But I think regardless, you could argue that because of just a 1 year of great success, you might be a little bit worried to throw that money at him. But I think for 35.4, just the way the market's going with quarterbacks, it is a pretty good deal. Now it comes down to what's right for the Minnesota Vikings, and I do see a lot of people saying they should bring him back. I see people post, should the Minnesota Vikings bring back Sam Darnold? And people say yes, because JJ McCarthy needs to sit, maybe he can learn a little bit more. And I definitely do agree with that, not with just the learning part of it too, but just to kind of get another year under his belt with the coming back from injury. Unfortunately, him tearing his ACL, it is unfortunate to see that happen, especially again such early in his career. If you throw him out there in the second year, let's say Sam Darnold walks, you throw McCarthy out there, he is going to be limited to a certain extent of his mobility and so forth. And again, I think you just want to put another year under his belt of being fully healthy and another year removed from that injury as well. And also, too, just a help learn situation. For me, coming out with JJ McCarthy, I wasn't that big of a fan of his. I think it was pretty clear and obvious that, especially their playoff run, it was the typical running game and defense, which really carried them. Not to say he didn't make good throws at times or he didn't play well, but he wasn't the driving force. And I wasn't a huge fan of his. And if for some reason he just kept from the national championship that year to the draft, he just exploded on people's draft boards, skyrocketed on there. From me, when I thought he was going to be maybe a late first-round pick, some people even had him as maybe a borderline top 5 quarterback. You had Jim Harbaugh. Now, he was the coach at Michigan at the time, so he's just prepping his players and trying to raise them up. But he said McCarthy's the best quarterback, the number 1 quarterback in the draft. They said, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he was the number one quarterback taken, which is, a little crazy to say that, but again, trying to raise his players going into the draft. And surely enough, he was a top 10 pick. He was a 10th overall pick. The Vikings traded up a couple spots with Denver to move up and select him because they truly believed in him. And again, unfortunately, we don't have really any tape to say, like, hey, his rookie year went this or that. The only thing we can go off of is a preseason, which we all don't really put too much stock into, unfortunately, with that. So I definitely do believe with McCarthy being a little bit of a raw, I don't want to say raw prospect, but just certainly it would help him to learn another year under Sam Darnold and really have the game slow down for him. No doubt it would be immense for the Vikings to bring him back on a franchise tag, or at least a 1-year deal or 2-year deal maybe. But unfortunately, that's how it's going to happen. For Sam Darnold's perspective, what's the right perspective, no doubt, is him going out there and getting the contract, because you don't want to take that chance again where, let's say you take that franchise tag, whatever how it might be. I'm sure it is more than 35.4. I think it is somewhere in the $40 million range, whatever Lamar's was when he signed his initially before getting the contract extension. You don't want to take that chance where you take a little bit of a step back, the team isn't as dominant, because you see, like, right now, the Vikings are 13-2. Crazy enough that it's not leading the division, but they do hold the number one wild card spot, 13-2, and right now they are projected to face the Atlanta Falcons, who they should, if the playoffs ended today or the season ended today, that's who they face, and they should easily beat the Falcons and go to the next round. So you look at that is amazing, no doubt, for Sam Darnold. You don't want to take that chance of having a step back where it's not as a dominant of a season, or it's a little bit iffy getting in, you barely make it in, or whatever it may be. The stats aren't great. You throw a little bit more interceptions. The touchdowns are down. Whatever the turnovers are up. However you want it to phrase it. Then teams are going to look at you differently. Now we're not going to give you that $35.4 million a year contract if that was even on the table. So from Sam Darnold's perspective, you got to cash in. You got to take that. You want that Baker Mayfield contract, that Daniel Jones contract, however you want it, whatever quarterback you want to compare him to for the similar deal. You want to take that deal because you are not guaranteed the same success next year. So at least you want to be guaranteed that money, whatever how much guaranteed it is, and just run with it. Now, some of those teams that might throw that at him are probably not going to be in great situations either. You look at teams that, even though they're drafting high, could certainly look at him, as well as a potential landing spot is, I'll throw out the Raiders. Now, you would assume they would draft a rookie quarterback, but that could be a situation, as well, kind of naming down a list of teams that have bad quarterback situations. Again, the Giants, the Raiders, the Titans are a couple. The Saints have Derek Carr. They won't get rid of him. They're also a cap casualty as well. So you look at at least those three teams at the bottom of the list. Again, you would presume they would, one of those teams or two of those teams would take Shador or Cam Ward, but they could be a situation where they throw that at him out there. If he does get that 4-year, $141 million deal, he should run with that, and he should not accept a 1 or 2 year deal. And that's where definitely the pushback is going to be. Is yes, you would want Sam Darnold to come back, and you would want McCarthy to sit another year and learn and help develop and have him be more confident in the NFL level. But realistically, in order for you to do that, you could still do that, but it's not going to be with Sam Darnold. You're going to have to bring someone else in here on a 1-year deal. Dare I say, he follows the Brett Favre legacy of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that would happen, but you'd have to bring someone in here that's willing to take and accept a 1-year deal at most. Sam Darnold, I do not look at that. I think he should, and absolutely the right decision, like I said, is to take that max deal, whatever it may be, a 3-4 year deal, get as much money as possible, because you're not guaranteed the same success elsewhere, especially if you go to a worser team, because I highly doubt there's going to be a better situation than the Minnesota Vikings have right now. They're going to throw that money at you. I'm sorry, it's not. If they're throwing that ton of money at you, it's going to be a worse situation. I can guarantee you that. And I am a little bit worried, a little hesitant to say Sam Darnold can replicate this wherever he goes. I think he is a benefit of the system. That is not a knock on him. He's finally surrounded with talent, which, surprise, surprise, when you surround with quarterbacks with great staff, great talent, they play well. And when you don't, they don't play well, as we see with the New York Jets and a little bit of the Carolina Panthers. So a little bit of common sense there, but I just don't think, I don't want people to be tricked into thinking Sam Darnold is a great quarterback, and you found your next franchise guy, or you can have success with him for the next few years. I don't want people to get fooled in that, because I do think that is very possible. That's going to happen, where a team's going to throw this money at him, and he is not going to live up to what he did in Minnesota, and then you're going to be sitting there thinking, the fan base or whoever that may be, and saying, why did they give him that money? Why did they waste all that money on him? It's a huge swing and a miss. That's why I do worry about a team giving Sam Darnold this money, the 35.4. It's not horrible money. It is the going rate for quarterbacks, as we've seen, and we'll get to with Brock Purdy, with his money, him being projected to get almost $60 million a year. So 35.4 for a caliber of Sam Darnold, the way he's playing, isn't horrible, but I do believe a team more so will get burned on this deal as opposed to hitting out of the park with this. So I definitely think that, at the end of the day, the Minnesota Vikings, yes, you want to bring Sam Darnold back in, but 2 years max. At the very least 1 year. Sam Darnold should not take that. He should try and just cash in on that lottery ticket right now, get that big money, and just hope for the best that you can play well in a different situation. I do believe that we will see J.J. McCarthy next year as the starter, until barring a shock, for me, of Sam Darnold taking a 1 or 2 year deal like that, or signing a franchise tag with the Vikings. Barring that surprise, in my perspective, I think we do see J.J. McCarthy next year as a starter. I would be a tad bit worried too, because of just the injury, how he's going to look, especially his mobility part of it. But I think it's more realistic to say that both these parties are going to be in different spots. Sam Darnold is going to be somewhere else with that big contract. J.J. McCarthy is going to be started with the Vikings, and we will see how those play out as well.